Hello, and welcome to Rob from the Internet Talks About Beer, a show where we discuss different styles of beer, beer history, beer flavor profiles. We give shout outs to breweries we think make exceptional beer, and we talk about whatever else happens to come to mind during the course of our conversation. I'm Rob from the Internet. Let's talk about beer. All right, so joining me today for session number 2 today. You guys are my second recording session today, so I actually did a show on Belgian doubles about 2 hours before this.
Oh, this should be fun.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting fun, Rob.
Right. You guys get extra fun, Rob. So joining me is Andrew and Tyler from Pop Culture Brews Podcast. We're going to be talking about Chimay Blue. The earlier show that I did, we talked about Chimay Red. So I've already had a 750 ml bottle of Chimay Red about 2 hours ago. So this should be a really, really fun time. Point of note, you guys are my 20th episode. So.
Oh, wow. Woo.
Yeah. It's funny, I did this show. The first series of recordings was 10 episodes, and it was hard to get those first 10 people. And then I put a call out this time, and I got I think I got 37 responses.
That's awesome.
And I'm still working through trying to get people scheduled. So.
That's awesson.
I didn't know we were going to be the 20th episode. We should have brought a gift or something.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Shoot.
No. The gift is the knowledge that we bring and the levity that we give to people.
Nice.
That's the gift.
I was going to say, so we literally just kicked off season 4, and we are such a guest heavy season now, because we're only about 40 episodes in. So yeah, we love it when we can get guests and guests on other things. So this is awesome.
Yeah. So thanks for having us.
So if you guys would tell me a little bit about yourselves, tell me about your podcast, and tell me how you guys got interested in craft beer.
Sure.
You go first.
I'll go. Okay.
Yeah, you go first.
So Pop Culture Brews is a podcast where Tyler and I are a pair of homebrewers, so we're the worst type of beer nerds.
Same here.
And so what we do is we take pieces of pop culture that we really like from classic movies, old movies, books, musicians. Like some of the episodes we just recorded are for things like Terminator,
Galaxy Quest.
We just did The Room. We just did the band Queen.
You're tearing me apart.
You tearing me apart, Lisa. And what we do is we do a deep dive on that pop culture, but then we brew a beer specifically for that topic.
That's cool.
So the easiest examples I can give, and actually are my 2 favorite examples, are for Spinal Tap, we did an 11% stout, because it goes all the way.
Because you gotta crank it up to 11,
and you can't get any blacker.
It's non-blacker.
It's non-blacker. And then a beer that actually won a silver medal at a local homebrewing competition here with a brewery. It was the Mai Tai beer that Tyler concocted for Weekend at Bernie's.
Is that the light above me, or is that just the sun?
That's
your
just
accolades dripping.
It's just
down
the accolades dripping towards you.
Yes.
And so. Yeah, so every episode we reveal a brand new beer we made, and if you're a home brewer, we totally give out the recipe, and we look at beer in I would hopefully like to say, in a very different light from a lot of different home brewers or breweries, in that we try and tell a full story with our beer, rather than try and chase like the latest trend.
Yeah. For sure. And plus,
Excellent.
with our podcast, we can't really do the latest trend because homebrewing takes about 2 weeks to create a beer anyway. So that's why we're stuck. We do
we do a lot of old shit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine.
It's not going anywhere.
Hey, it's not old shit. It's classic or vintage.
Shit. I was gonna say,
Classic.
are we allowed to cuss on this on your?
Oh
show?
hell yeah!
Okay.
My show is not monetized by for anything. I do this strictly because I want to try and get some knowledge out to people who might be who might be afraid to step outside their comfort zone. And they want to learn a bit about different styles of beer. And two, I do it because I want to do it, and it's not geared towards children. So adults swear, and I'm terrible about it. I drop F-bombs all day long. I try not to drop them all the time on the show, and I'm marginally successful.
That's fucking classy of you.
Good job.
And then honestly, just speaking for myself, just how I got into craft beer. So I moved to Colorado 13 years ago from Britain. And
Wait,
you're not native to Colorado?
I
I would have never guessed.
What?
we don't all talk like that.
We're a very classy state. And on one of my early trips, I got to try Avalanche from Breckenridge Brewery when they were still
Avalanche.
When it was still
Avalanche.
indie. Loved Fat Tire, but the beer that broke me, which Tyler will always make fun of me for, is Arrogant Bastard by Stone. I had never had something so hoppy in my life, and it was just such a gateway drug.
I've decided I like Rob because he shook his head at you.
You know, so. I was in my early 20s and coming from a country at that point that was only drinking bad European lager.
Fair enough.
So
Fair enough.
yeah.
I guess I can give you a pass on that.
Thank you.
I guess Andrew talked a lot there, but I am Tyler, and I'm the other co-host, and Andrew did a great job of summing up our show, so I won't go any more into detail besides reminding everybody that I was the silver medal winner out of the two of us. And you know, I think I got into homebrewing for two reasons. I went to school in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, which is not a land known for craft beer. I'll just put it that way. And so when I got back from school, I was really wanting to dig into beer styles and like kind of really develop my knowledge around beer in general. And so I just was like, you know what? I could either buy this $24 6-pack, or I could brew a 5-gallon batch and see if it turns out okay. And actually it turned out okay for most part. And I got really into homebrewing when I met Andrew here, because I was actually kind of on the outs with the hobby for a little bit, and then met Andrew at a local homebrew club, and the rest is history, I would say.
I mean, we kind of went from not knowing what we were doing and being like, let's do a podcast.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how responsible that is.
I think that's how most podcasts get started.
I think that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
I know this much about this much, and I'm going to tell the world about it.
That's pretty much every episode.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the same thing here. The only difference is, rather than just being audio, people get to look at my lovely face.
It is lovely.
or not. I mean, to be honest, a lot of the people I know who watch my show actually just listen to it in the background. But that's fine. I know there's a segment of people out there who like to see visuals. They like to see the beer. They like to see, different things. So that's why I decided to do a YouTube series rather than just doing a podcast, because, I like to actually see, okay, what's the beer that they say, oh, it's a golden color, but I actually want to see the actual hue of the beer, and I actually want to see how it looks in a glass and things like that. So that's why I figure I do a video series.
So he did want to see the color of the beer.
Okay, I'm gonna tell a very quick story. So in my recording studio, because I'm pretentious enough to call it that, also my home office, I keep a stack of disposable like plastic cups, because I'm like, if I want to grab a beer, like it's right there, whatever.
While he's working.
What? Not while I'm.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Only after 5 p.m.
I won't give away your secrets. You can tell me if you drink while you're working.
I do not drink while I'm working. But no, if I'm down here for any reason, so I was like, all right, I'll just grab it. And then I was like, hey Tyler, I've got these plastic cups. He's like, we're gonna want to talk about the color. I'm like, damn it, you're right. So I had to take the long trek back upstairs to get another couple of pint glasses. So yeah,
the moral of the story is Andrew's a little lazy.
Yeah, I am.
And he's
Hey, I mean,
he's a man of convenience.
I can't fault the guy for that. I mean, my home office inside the house, it's a 30-foot walk from my bedroom to my office, and
Yep.
some days that's too far.
Yeah, that
I'm
sounds about right.
I'm a man of efficiency.
Yes, exactly. And you know what? As an operation efficiency analyst back in the day, I can get behind that.
Yeah. Well, so my recording studio is actually also my brewing space.
Oh,
So,
nice.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I see that
it's,
there in the
yeah.
background. Nice.
Yeah, that's my glycol chiller and a couple of fermenters sitting there.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
Oh, damn, he's fancy.
off to
gonna
this side of
say,
me,
shit.
I've got a 9-foot bar cooler with 3 taps on it and 4 doors, so I've got it full of beer.
Wow.
And
Do you have
Yeah,
anything fermenting right now?
I do not. I am in my summer of sadness. My brewing setup died on me last
no.
month.
Oh.
So there will be no brewing right now because I figured if I'm going to get a new system, I'm not going to buy something small. I get I'm going to be getting a 1-barrel pro system from Blickman.
Wow.
So
Holy crap, my
Wow.
friend.
That's awesome.
yeah,
Some people,
I'm going to brew a lot of beer.
some people called it the hot girl summer. Rob is calling it the summer of sadness. I can
Yeah,
see.
it's my summer of sadness because I
So-
can't brew.
So, Rob, then I think we need to have you on where we all
Brew a
agree
beer.
on a beer. We're gonna
Yeah.
brew it. We're gonna have it inspired by something awesome, and yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Once the summer of sadness is over,
The
Yeah,
fall.
once the summer of sadness is over.
What
yeah.
is it? The autumn of awesomeness?
the autumn of awesomeness. Because you're in
The
Canada,
autumn
did they
of
call it
awesomeness.
fall or autumn?
It depends. I'm from the Midwest United States, so they call it fall. But people up here, it's like 50-50. Half of them call it autumn, half of them call it fall. You know,
Okay.
whatever. I know what they
Whatever.
mean.
You're bilingual.
Yeah, I'm bilingual. That's right. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be talking about Chimay Blue, which is made by the Trappist monks at the Chimay Brewery. That's right.
Just
It's
gonna
a
hold it
nice-
up for the camera here.
I've got the little stubby bottle. They've got the nice full-size adult bottle.
It's the American version.
This is actually, sorry to derail. This is a very new experience for Tyler and I that we have to be on camera because obviously we do audio. So I'm just gonna make sure I do all the really cheesy shit.
Yeah,
like-
I'm
That's right. Well, you got to do the game show thing. There you go.
yeah, Vanna White, that crap.
Yeah, that Vanna White, that shit, man. Come on. I need to buy a vowel.
Sir, you do not have any money.
Oh.
Oh.
All right, so for people who might not know, this is actually a fairly new beer in terms of Trappist beers. It was brewed the very first time in 1948 to celebrate Christmas. The monks of the Chimay monastery, Chimay Brewery, they decided to produce a special Christmas beer, and then they built a new brewing hall, which opened up in 1954. And in 1954, this became a regular addition to the beers that they brewed. It's the strongest of the three I guess the 3 styles of beer that they do. I think they actually make a 4th one called Doré or something like that, which is a special edition that only comes out every once in a while. From my understanding, I could be wrong, but it wasn't until 1982 that they had it in the large bottle. Until then, it was only in this little stubby bottle. The as they say, the 33 centiliter bottle, or as the rest of the world says, 330 ml bottle, or I don't know. It's 12 ounces U.S. size.
That's
So,
about right.
thereabouts. But yeah. So yeah, it wasn't until 1982 that they introduced the large bottle, and then as they say, the rest is history. People drink it, people buy it. Some people might not know also about Chimay beers. All of the Chimay beers are bottle conditioned, so they re-ferment in the bottle, typically on their trip from Belgium to wherever they're going. So you never want to just pour one of these beers into your glass because you're going to get a whole bunch of crud.
Mhm.
You have to kind of decant it as it starts to get lower because there is sediment in the bottom. I mean, unless drinking dead yeast is your thing, hey, then by all means, more power to you.
I
To each
mean,
their own.
there's many a home brewer.
Yes.
When you start and you start home brewing and you bottle condition and you get like the
gotta
little
get that
cake at the
last-
bottom of the
you get in that last bottle.
but you're like, oh, I'm so good at home brewing,
I want
even
that
though it's
bottle.
like your first batch and you just pour all that yeast crap in.
Yeah.
Or you ferment in a keg.
That was once.
You know who I'm talking about.
It was not the silver medal winner, was
No,
it?
no, absolutely not. I would never.
So that reference is actually to an episode that's going to be out by the time this is out. But with our friend Colton from Homebrewing DIY, we fermented a beer in a keg for a very awful movie. So it was all by design. But if you want to hear how homebrewing can go wrong, please listen to
It's a
that
great episode to listen.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
for the room.
So with what is traditional with all Trappist style beers, the actual proper glassware you should be using is a tulip glass. Although honestly, drink it out of whatever you want, whatever you have. You got a red Solo cup, use a red Solo cup. You got one of those old school Burger King collectible Star Trek glasses, use that for all by all means. I happen to have a tulip glass because I guess I'm a little bit more of an alcoholic than you guys are, and I like the proper
No,
glassware.
I have a tulip glass, but my level of alcoholism is it's in the dishwasher right now. So, I was using it last night for a quad.
Yes. So technically speaking, this could be considered a quad because it is a Belgian dark strong ale.
I'm getting more excited.
So it's basically it's the big brother to the double. It should be a dark brown color. It should with a coppery hue to it. You should get all sorts of notes of like dates and figs and plums and raisins and you should also get on the nose. You should be getting the typical Belgian banana, maybe a little bit of clove or allspice, things like that. So let's go ahead and
Let's crack this open.
pop this bad boy open.
Sorry, ours is corked. There it goes.
Oh,
There you go.
Did you hear that?
That was beautiful.
Yeah, I did that for the double episode I did earlier today. I had it right by my mic, and when it popped, it was like a boop.
That's awesome.
It was like that perfect cork pop sound.
I did not do a great pour of that, but
Wow, he
That's
does not like you apparently.
Oh no, look at that homebrew pour right there.
wow. It's because the beer and the glass are different temperatures. Yeah, I'll trade you. How about that?
Speaking of temperatures, the ideal temperature to serve this beer is between 10 and 12 degrees Celsius, which is between 50 and 55 degrees Fahrenheit for my friends who are not metric centric.
So don't put this beer in the fridge, you monsters. What are you doing?
Well, you can store it in the fridge, but pull it out about an hour before you're going to drink it.
Yeah, come on.
I feel attacked.
So,
Oh, you guys just keep
initial
red wine in the fridge too.
Okay. No, it's because I put red wine on nitro, and that's in the fridge.
Actually,
It's really interesting. Sorry, this is a total side tangent,
Okay.
but
nope, that's perfectly fine.
a really fun thing to do if you have a nitro setup is buy like a cheap Trader Joe's kind of wine, like a box of it or two, put it in a keg, let it sit on nitro for 2 weeks, and then like pour that on nitro. It really changes the wine, and it's really great at Christmas.
It's the most
You're
bougie-
probably breaking a few people's hearts when
I
they
know,
when they hear
it's-
you when they hear this on this show.
Yeah, but I'm
Go get
talking.
some Franzia.
Yeah,
Seriously.
go get you some Franzia. That's right.
I'm losing.
Go to
so,
Costco, buy the 55-gallon drum of wine.
I'm losing so many listeners because they're like, this guy does wine in the fridge. I'm not listening to that podcast.
Just remember, people,
Well-
he's British. He doesn't know any better. He does it despite the French.
Well, Yeah, I mean,
You're 50% of the way there.
So it should be an intense dark brown color. Mine is Yours
Oh,
looks to
yeah.
be an intense.
Beautiful.
And what's funny, so it's called a Belgian dark strong ale, but the dark actually doesn't refer to the color. It just means that it's darker than the golden strong ale, which is the other Belgian strong ale. So anything that's not like your typical yellow beer colored strong ale that's a Belgian is a dark Belgian.
Because I was gonna say it looks like a British brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It looks quite a bit. It looks quite a bit like an ESB
Yeah.
or a nut brown, something like
Mhm.
that. But it does not smell like those.
No,
I love that
wonderful.
Belgian smell.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, so you should be getting a complex set of smells to your nose. You should be rich and sweet maltiness. There should be spiciness. You should be picking up some pepper, some coriander, maybe some clove or allspice, and obviously you should be getting some a little bit of that banana. And that banana flavor comes and aroma comes out more as the beer warms up. So if you're serving it at 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit, you're going to have a very slight banana. But as it gets to about 60 degrees Fahrenheit, it's really going to start to bloom. And you'll notice it more when you drink it. So
Cheers.
Cheers.
Good health.
So the initial sip, you should get up front. You should get that malty sweetness with a little bit of the dark fruits in the middle, and then a fairly dry finish, which is typical of Trappist ales. Now, if it was what they call an Abbey style ale, it would be more sweet on the finish than it would be dry. So
I get that cloves, like the spices notes come in at that dry finish. That's like where I get all those notes coming through.
Yeah.
I know you said this at the beginning of the episode, but this does remind me of Christmas. Like this is like a great Christmas beer.
Great Christmas beer.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing about doubles and quads is they're traditionally fall and winter beers. For people who, unlike me, just like beer all the time.
All the time.
That's
so like there's a running argument, mock argument in our house between my wife and I that she's very much in the stouts and porters are a fall and winter beer, and I'm like, no, a barrel aged stout's a summer beer for sitting out on the patio.
Do we tell the Dracula story?
I'll allow you to tell it if you would like.
We do.
Hey, that's what this is all about, man. Tell me your dirty little secrets.
We did an episode for Dracula in what was it, December, January?
Christmas time.
Yeah, it was around. I'll say December, and Andrew brewed a blood orange Hefeweizen, and we were talking in the episode, and he goes, "Man, this is like just the perfect winter Christmas beer," and I'm like, "Really? Like a Hefeweizen?"
Really?
That's the beer you go to in winter? Okay. Well, I'll drink my barrel-aged stout while you enjoy your Hefeweizen on December.
Because of the blood orange.
Yes.
So I mean,
silly Brit.
I'm not like the world's biggest dark beer fan.
I'm working on it.
You are a big dark beer fan, and so we made for a future episode, we bought a 33-gallon barrel. And we filled it with a Baltic porter, which we brewed it July of last year. It was before June, July, right before total lockdown. And we aged it for 6 months. We bottled it in January, and it was great. So it was us and our friend Cody, and shout out to Cody. And we each took 10 gallons, where these two gentlemen were very smart and bottled the entire 10-gallon batch. I decided I've got a nitro system, which apparently I'm just bragging about this episode. And so it's like 5 gallons of that needs to go on nitro. Well, I can't drink that beer very quick, so it got to like May when it's getting really hot in Colorado, and I'm like, I cannot drink this beer anymore. And then they should have just bottled the entire damn thing.
And then he invited me around more often.
Yeah, you drink a lot.
Yeah, trying to get rid of his old beer.
Yeah. It aged. I mean, I still have bottles, and it's aged beautifully.
Oh yeah, it keeps getting better and better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so speaking of aging, the Chimay Blue, you can actually go to the store, buy one that's from this year, pop it on the shelf, and leave it down there for 5 years.
Oh,
Pull it
yeah.
out, and it'll still be a fantastic beer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's typical of anything where you get the higher alcohol content. The higher the ABV, the longer you can age it, the longer it is shelf stable.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I've got a few 2016 beers that are
nice.
still sitting on the shelf. I've got there's a brewery up here called Nickelbrook that they do a barrel aged imperial stout, but it's aged in Pinot Noir barrels.
Ooh.
So it's called Whiny Bastard. And I've got a 2016, a 2017, a 2019, 2020, and then 2021 will be out around Christmas time or a little after. So I don't have any 2018 because apparently I didn't put one aside and I drank them all.
2018 was a particularly good year.
Yeah. Actually, the best year for it, and the ones I wish I still had more of, was 2017. Was probably the best year they had because it was a really dry summer up here, so the wine was really fantastic. So the barrels had a lot more intense flavor in them that was able to be pulled out. It was great. But
That's awesome.
yeah, I'm a sucker for barrel aged beers. I've actually got a 2016 and a 2018 Bourbon County barrel stout.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that sounds awesome. There was a brewery here in Denver called Barrels Beer Co. And all they did was barrel style beer, and that was one of my favorite breweries for the longest time. But I don't think that they were sustainable, so they closed at one point.
Well, because the problem is that the vast majority of people are like barrel aged is for cold weather,
Especially in Colorado. It's
especially
like
in
hops.
Colorado.
Give me IPAs.
Yeah, we are. I mean, I'm certainly a hop fan. That's what I drink throughout the entire year. But yeah, certainly in Colorado, like if you're doing barrel aged stuff, I think a lot of beer fans are like, that's for October.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not that they're not fans of it. It's just, most Colorado drinkers are the seasonal approach.
Yeah.
Yeah, most drinkers,
people,
not necessarily Colorado. I mean, I've found that everywhere I've gone. Most people think that barrel aged beers are fall and winter beers, and they're not really wrong. I mean, that's when they are typically enjoyed more because that's where you have your winter warmers and things like that. You get higher alcohol beers to try and
but there's
shake the chill off.
There's some fun barrel ages out there that are like gin profiles and tequila profiles that
Yeah,
come out really, really well in the spring and summer.
Because we were talking about trying to do that.
Yeah. With a gin barrel, especially.
Gin barrel,
Yeah, we had one. I don't remember what style of beer it was, but it was again by Nickelbrook. They had one called Blind Pig, and it was a gin barrel aged beer, and it was a light. You look at it, it was a light colored, fairly light bodied, but it was I think it was 9% ABV, and it was nice. It was smooth. So now this is warmed up a little bit. Take a big hoof with your nose and take a drink and tell me if you're getting any different flavors than you were off the initial.
Mine's gotten a little bit sweeter.
I was gonna say the sweetness of the malt's coming out.
Yeah, the malty, sweetie.
I mean, I'm getting a little bit like kind of a coppery kind of taste to it as well, which is not unpleasant in the slightest.
All right, so for me, after I let it warm up and I take another drink here, I get more of the banana and the clove up front, and I get that malty sweetness more in the middle, as opposed to when it's really cold, you get the malty sweetness up front, and you don't get the other stuff until the finish.
And that's probably why I was getting the malty sweetness more, is because it hits me in the middle of the palate, and I think that's where I get the majority of my flavor. I think from whenever I try a beer, that just comes in the middle.
Yeah, and like I've said in a few different episodes, this is a beer for people who are looking to be a little more adventurous if they're just getting into craft beer. This is not what I would typically recommend somebody try as their very first craft beer.
Oh no.
Or very very first beer off of the I drink Miller and Coors, exclusively.
Well, because we
I would be more inclined to give them like a Bohemian Pilsner or something like that.
yeah.
But if they were feeling adventurous, I'd say have a taste of this and tell me what you think of it.
Well, because we talk about this on the podcast all the time. Is we brew, and I mean I think it's true of every beer. Like you brew two kinds of beers that you can ignore, which isn't meant as a negative. It's just more like, oh, I've brewed this light lager that is going to be really nice and refreshing and is going to go with all this stuff. And then you get beers that it's like, oh, I have to pay attention to you.
I'm studying this beer as I drink it.
And I mean, and I think Belgians always fall into that camp of you cannot just knock back a Belgian and order another one.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, these are beer styles: the double, the triple, and this one, the Belgian dark strong ale. They're beers that are designed to be consumed with food.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not typically something you're just gonna sit out on the patio. Oh, I'm gonna knock back a 750 mil of Chimay Blue. I might knock back that 750 mil bottle of Chimay Blue, but there's also going to either be like a steak or some grilled sausages or something.
Now,
something to go along with the flavor. Typically something savory to counteract the sweet that this has.
Now, if I do knock back a whole 750 bottle of Chimay Blue by myself on a patio with no food, does the entire country of Belgium come find me? Like, how does that work? Because I have probably done that a couple times.
I believe you get honorary citizenship.
I was going to say, is there like a cease and desist order that comes out?
At this point, you'll be the bloody Prime Minister of Belgium.
I was wondering what that invite was about. I thought it was just spam email, but I guess I should take that.
Everyone voted for me? Fuck, okay.
I just got the weirdest evite, guys.
It's half in French, but it's also doesn't make sense. It's kind of Flemish, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of Flemish. I don't know, something about beer and frites. What the hell are frites?
Let the European explain this.
You put mayo in. You put mayo in what? No, I'm probably an oddball. I drink Belgians on their own without any type of accompaniment to them. We did a quad recently for for an upcoming episode on Harry Potter
and the Goblet of Fire.
And that quad, one, it's gotten better as it's sat in a keg, which is it goes back to like that fermentation, the cold fermentation, and then the second part is like that beer is so delightful on its own. It like really doesn't need anything else. But again, that's a beer that you study, right? Like that's a beer that you take a tulip glass, 10-ounce pour, and you sit there and you enjoy it for like 45 minutes. Really just
let it warm up like a brandy.
Yeah.
I mean, because that beer now is, would you say it's 4 months old?
Yeah, probably.
And
we're old.
We are old.
Yeah.
No, it's 4 months old, and I mean, I'm very fortunate that I've got multiple taps, so I've been able to keep that one on to see how it changes.
Because you were going to dump it at one point. You said you were going to dump that beer.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you did.
that would have been alcohol abuse.
Yes, thank you.
But no, we've kept it on tap, and it's been great because it's actually been a great education for me. Because beer aging is something that I personally is probably one of my weakest areas of homebrewing, that and water chemistry, and I swear to God, I'm not going to learn that. So
not a chemist.
So that shit's hard.
Whatever water comes out the damn tap is what you're using.
You throw in a Camden tablet, you're fine.
In Colorado, our water is gold.
It's gold. It comes from golden. And so it's been a great education for me because for the longest time people would be like, oh, I've aged this is aged, this is 5 years old, and be like, what? Okay, I don't, whatever. And so keeping that quad on tap and tasting it because I don't drink it every week.
No.
I drink it probably every like 2 to 3 weeks. Has been wonderful. And another beer that we just did that took me a little bit to get through was we did a barley wine. And that one
love barley wines.
Yeah, and that one I let just sit in the keg for 2 or 3 months before even bottling it. or for even kegging it. And that turned out to be a mighty delightful beer.
Yeah.
But we got through that one a bit quicker than
Yeah,
the quad for
we did.
some reason.
And I'll wrap it back to the Chimay Blue. Like, tasting a barley wine is similar to a style like this, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's that sweet maltiness, and then you hope in a barley wine that there's not that alcohol burn on it. And same with this thing, it doesn't have that alcohol, like the back flavor of like, oh shit, this is a high ABV beer.
Yeah.
You know.
You're not getting that ethanol.
And
Yeah,
you know what's
exactly.
funny is I've had a few quads. I'm actually doing a show on a quad. I don't know.
Ooh,
Right after this.
No, not today.
We're
It's
doing
like
it again.
Rob is gonna hot.
in a few weeks. So we're going to be talking about Roquefort 10, which is a fantastic quad.
Ooh.
Is it made with blue cheese?
It actually tastes really good with blue cheese.
I just ate it French.
but yeah, so you know you can get the thing about the Belgian strong ales or quads is they go anywhere. The acceptable range is anywhere from 8 to 12%, and if they're done right, you won't taste the alcohol in it until you're done, and you're like, wow. You go to stand up and you're like, yeah,
whoa.
nope, sitting back down.
I used to, this is such a stupid story, but I used to every Thursday.
Andrew, that's our podcast.
This is true. My wife was doing her master's, and so she would be out, I think, every Wednesday night. So I would go to the liquor store and I would buy like a couple of bombers and sit with the dog and watch a movie, drink the bombers, and be very happy when she got home. Well,
be bombed yourself. Yes.
Yeah. I never looked at the ABV of a barley wine. This is before I got into homebrewing. I'm like, this sounds interesting, and I was forbidden from buying this particular beer because she would get home and apparently I had been texting her all the way throughout whatever movie I was watching, our dog's opinion of it. And so yeah, I wasn't allowed to drink barley wines for a very long time.
I've got a 2018 barley wine that was released by a brewery here in Ontario that was barrel aged barley wine, and I think it comes in at 14%.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely fantastic. I bought 4 bottles of it, and I put one on the shelf in the do not touch for at least 1 year section.
Nice.
Do you guys get Avery up there? Do you guys get any
We don't. No. You know, that's one of the beers I really miss since moving
man.
up here is the Avery beers, because
Yeah.
they, like, I used to love getting Mephistopheles. That was one of my
yeah,
favorites.
so they do like a cellar sale here. If you ever come out for Great American Beer Fest, they usually do like this deep cellar clean out where they sell a bunch of old stuff. And I think I bought like 6 Mephistopheles.
Oh, you bought a ton.
And they probably lasted 2 or 3 months. But these are like Mephistopheles from like 2013.
Yeah.
Like they've already been aged, and I'm like, yes, the work has already been done for me. I don't have
That's
to
right.
sit on them. I can just drink them.
Well, because you gave me a couple of vanilla porters that they've done that are still in my fridge.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Because Tyler here is a wonderful.
They won't be for long.
Yeah.
Well, no, Tyler here is a wonderful human being in that he did this cellar sale, and we do a fantasy league every year. And so one year that we did it, it was like everyone buys $50 of booze, and top 3 places get a share of the booze. But what Tyler was doing was, for the winner of each week, they got to get a bottle from his cellar collection.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah, you were giving out like some amazing sours, some like the vanilla porters. It was. I was very grateful to you.
Yeah, those Avery beers, they come in clutch. No, the cellar sale that they were doing was like, I can't remember what the exact deal, but it was basically buy a certain amount and then get a box of green label Averys for free.
Mm-hmm.
And so my buddy Kyle,
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. My buddy and Kyle and I are up there, and we're like, you want us to do what? Okay. So I like walked out of there with like $400 worth of cellar beer that I purchased, and then in addition to that, I walked out with like 10 cases of green labels, because they were transitioning from their bomber sizes down to like the tall cans, like the 20 ounce
16 ounce cans.
16 ounce,
20,
and I was like, well, if you want me to take these, then sure.
Okay.
And then we would meet people in the parking lot. They're like, this is too much. I'm like, well, I'll take them from you if you don't want them. And they're like, would you? And so I probably got like another 3 or 4 cases from random people in the parking
remember
lot.
you texting me
Nice.
that day, like, look at the hole, and I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, asshole, you didn't invite me.
There was a picture of my buddy's car. We drove up there. It was a Ford Explorer, and him and I were sitting in the front. My seat was pushed all the way forward, and it was full to the brim of boxes of beer.
It was incredible.
That's a beautiful thing.
It was a beautiful thing. I look back on that day in fondness.
Circling back to the beer that we're talking about, so it's not get too far off
Sorry.
track.
I'm sorry.
No. It's perfectly fine. That's the whole premise of the show, though. As I've said, it's just supposed to be people sitting around talking about beer. We give some information about the beer we're drinking, but then we go off on tangents.
Yeah.
For people who are wondering, this beer has an IBU range, this beer style, but this particular one has an IBU range of 20. This style is 20 to 35, so it's not going to be super bitter. It's got an SRM, which is the color, the darkness, range from 12 to 22. So it's going to be dark, but it's not going to be pitch black like those fantastic barrel-aged stouts.
Oh, yes.
And like I said earlier, alcohol is going to be anywhere from 8 to 12%, depending. This one comes in, they say it's at 9. I believe them.
I was gonna say we're about to get real chatty.
Yeah. I've noticed a lot in beer trends, and this kind of relates to this. Chimay, this one is that 750 milliliter bottle, and a lot of breweries have stopped selling these 750 milliliters. I mean, I don't know. At least the craft beers around here. Like, I don't know, Rob, if you have any thoughts about that, but like, I actually miss them. I miss the bombers, to be honest.
So a lot of the breweries up here, if they're doing bottles, they're only doing 500 ml bottles now.
Yeah.
So they're smaller bottles, and everyone for the longest time, everyone's been doing the tall boy cans, the 16 ounce.
I was going to ask, like, because technically canning, and obviously this pre-COVID logic, doing canning and doing crowlers is so much cheaper than glass. Is that why that transition happened?
Yes, it is. It's a lot cheaper, and it's a lot easier for the cans to be recycled than it is for bottles to be recycled. So, but up here, everybody switched over to the tall boy, the 16 ounce. That's 473 milliliters for you metric folks.
See, told you, bilingual.
and now we're starting to see they're switching back to the 12 ounce can, which is like 350 milliliter cans.
The size of a Coke.
Yeah.
Yes. But I'm perfectly fine with that, because sometimes you get those tall boy cans, you're like, I don't really care for this beer, but I kind of have to drink it because I paid $5 for this can of beer. Where if it's a 12 ounce can, you're like, it's 12 ounces, bam, gone.
Yeah. See, I think that's where I struggle with it, because I get the 12 ounce can of a really expensive beer, and then I down that 12 ounce can, and I'm like, oh,
what the hell?
What the fuck?
Well, I do that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got so there's a brewery here called Collective Arts that every year does a series called Origin of Darkness, and they're all barrel-aged imperial stouts or Baltic porters or what have you, and they're usually a collab with other breweries. So like, and this year, in 2019, they did them in 500 ml bottles. In 2020, they were little stubby cans.
Oh.
and I went through them so quickly, it was not even funny.
Actually, I mean, I don't want to keep talking about Avery, but Avery used to do the big bombers, and now they're all in the gold foils, which are the regular bottles. And I find the same. Like, I drink a bottle of Tweak, which comes in at like 18%, and you're like, holy shit, I cannot stand up right now. But and so, like, in the sense that's okay, like, I'm okay with having that as a small bottle. But like something like this Chimay Blue, give me the big bomber, like the 9%. Like, that's not going to kill me, and I'm okay with it.
I one of my favorite podcasts is this show called Moon Under the Water, and it's a British podcast about creating your favorite pint, your favorite pub, right? And it's absolutely wonderful, and I recommend everyone check it out. But they're like talking about beers of their youth and beers that they're drinking now and all that, and they're like, "Oh man, I had a great night on Timmy Taylor's. That came in at a whopping 5.5%," and I'm like, "That is children's beer."
Let me tell you about my night with Tweak.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like we're sitting here being like, "Yeah, we'll just knock back a 9% beer. Life is good." So yeah, it just
Let me tell you about the time I drank an entire Sam Adams Utopia in one sitting.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Oh my.
and you're alive
yeah. So
because that's
I-
scotch.
I was like, you know what? I want to get fucking lit tonight. And I had a bottle of it sitting. It was a 20. Was it 2012, 2014? I don't remember, but I hadn't opened it yet. And I pulled out. I have a 24-ounce beer mug from when I used to be a bouncer at the bar. They gave it to me as a going away present. It's just this massive, heavy glass. You could
Yeah.
clobber somebody with it, and they'd crumple like paper. And I took that and I popped the cork on it, and I literally just poured the whole thing into that
Oh
glass.
my god.
I went and turned on the TV, and I just sat there drinking it. It took me about 40 minutes to get through it, but I was
Fucking
I
hell,
was
mate.
completely wasted.
So I've never known anyone to have that beer. How, like, could you describe that beer for me?
Sure. So don't think of it as
beer.
you would in normal terms of beer. Think
Yeah.
of it more like a cognac. That's the kind
Okay.
of how it is. It's thick and it's rich and it's not carbonated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it is designed to be drank in small, like
Yeah.
snifter size glasses, like brandy or cognac or things like that. It's absolutely fantastic. It's super thick flavor of figs and prunes, and you get leathery notes in there, and it's got some earthiness to it. It's fantastic. I've actually got 2 bottles of it
Shit,
sitting
man.
at a friend's house right
Wow.
now in Boston because I haven't been able to get there because of the pandemic.
Your friend's like,
you're-
no, you don't.
You're yeah.
No,
Your friend
no,
is either a
the
saint
nice
or
thing is
lying to you.
they don't drink beer, so
Oh,
they're-
Okay.
I gave them the money and said, hey, go pick these up for me. We're coming to visit you in a month, and then we weren't able to come visit.
Yeah.
They appear around here every once in a while. Did you go to the Great American Beer Fest where Sam Adams was pouring some of their Utopia?
Was that?
I
year
did
we went
not.
Yeah,
there?
it was actually probably the first year I was there.
Oh, we didn't know each other then. So,
Yeah, it was probably 2012.
Yeah,
2013, something
that
like
would be. Yeah.
they were pouring Utopia. They had like 3 years of it that they were just pouring. And I remember going over there and I was like, oh, I like craft beer. I've been brewing for 6 months. I know what I'm talking. I know what's going on. And they gave me the little sample, and it was less than what you normally get at Great American
Yeah.
Beer Fest.
Right.
And I put that into my mouth, and I was like, what in holy hell did I just put into my mouth? Because it's exactly what you described. It's leathery. There's like a roasted like notes to it. And as a 6-month-old home brewer, I was like, oh, holy crap! I didn't know beer could be this rich.
This. Yeah.
Exactly. And I remember being like, I will never buy this beer. And now like I've gotten to the point I'm like, I could probably swing $300 to buy one of those bottles
Yeah.
at some point.
I mean, I'd go halves in on you.
they sell them at
So-
Mayfair.
Do they really?
Yeah, there was like one
So
on display over
here's
there.
the thing. My friends in Boston get it at MSRP, which is $149.
What?
They sell it here for like $300 to $500.
Oh no, I know. When I lived in Illinois, it was $300 a bottle. But my friends who live in Boston, they picked up 2 of them for me at $149 a piece.
See, what I love about your story though is you're like, I wanted to get lit, so
I
I
opened into
opened this Utopia, and I'm like, go to the liquor store, pick up a bottle of Jameson, and have the same experience.
I'm more of a Balvenie guy myself. I like
You know,
Scotch.
Balvenie is amazing. You know, I prefer Scotch, but you know, you got to do what you do.
Some nights it just
If I'm gonna drink an Irish whiskey, my favorite is actually Writer's Tears. I
Oh, I've
don't know
not
if you've
had
had that one.
No.
So my wife and I went to the UK 2 years ago now?
I've been
3 years,
there.
3 years ago.
You live there. Oh, that's
So
right.
I ran a half marathon in Edinburgh, and we stayed there for a few days, and then we went to Ireland for 4 days, and we went to England for 4 days. And yeah, so we went to Guinness, we went to Jameson, and we actually went. We found this. There's a Irish whiskey tourism board.
Oh yeah.
That their entire job is to promote Irish whiskeys,
Mhm.
and they did a thing where you could come in at 10 in the morning, and they did a brunch with whiskeys.
Oh yeah.
So-
Only the Irish. Even
Yeah.
the Scots are going, you wait till 11.
So we get there at
10:30
10,
maybe.
and they serve the breakfast. It's a light fare, you've got little finger sandwiches and what have you, and then you get to choose. I think it was 4 different Irish whiskeys from their board, and then you could buy extras if you wanted, which of course had to.
After 4, why
yeah.
not 5?
Yeah, fuck it.
But so I was going through, and there was this one. It's called Writer's Tears, and it's not an expensive Irish whiskey. I think it's $50 a bottle here, so
Not bad.
it's like 35 US. So it's not terribly expensive, but it's absolutely fantastic. It's small batch, made in a copper still.
Mhm.
I mean, it's old school style of distilling, and it's absolutely fantastic.
That's awesome.
Shout out to Talnua.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, take it away.
So we have a Irish whiskey distillery here called Talnua whiskey, and they do the copper single pot stills here, and they're the only ones I think in North America
I was gonna say
that do it.
Yeah.
And they've got these brand new systems, and they are the ones that we bought the barrel from that we did the barrel aged Baltic porter in. And
Nice.
their product is absolutely phenomenal.
And
They
they're
keep
the
putting out winners.
Sweetest people.
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
nicest people. Shout out to Patrick.
Cheers, Patrick.
All right, so we're coming to the end of the episode, so this is the part where I ask you guys to give shout outs to whatever you want to give a shout out to. If you're tell people what you're up to, what's coming up, what you guys are into, what's going on, what's the skinny,
What's the skinny?
I'll just say that I just got the banana esters in this.
I was
beer,
gonna
so-
say like this beer
it just got
has
warm enough, huh?
Yeah,
warmed
it's just-
up,
it's here.
and can I just say thank you for suggesting this beer
Yeah.
because I would, in a million years, I would not have come to this beer.
Yeah.
I really
It's a
appreciate it.
fantastic beer. And if you're like me, it's a beer that you could drink year round. And obviously, if you're like Tyler, who says he enjoys Belgian, you could drink this year round as well.
Without any
you know,
food
it-
on a patio by yourself.
By yourself, crying into your glass because nobody loves you and life is
Tyler, I love
overwhelmingly
you.
full of dread.
Thank you.
Actually, I was gonna say the beer this reminds me of, and this isn't blowing our own trumpet or anything
Oh,
like
God.
that, but no, the beer this reminds me of is the barley wine we did. That sweetness at the back is really so we and by the time this comes out, this might be out, but if not, it's a beer we made for Terminator. And that's the
Is
one
it called I'll Be Back?
I'll be back. Oh, damn it!
No, what do we named
we
it?
did a barley wine with Austrian hops
Yeah.
because it's gonna put you on your ass.
Yeah. No, I can't. We had a name for it, but I can't.
I can't remember.
what it was.
But it had
I'm
this-
750 milliliters.
I was gonna say it was a very rich, very caramel beer. and
Sweet.
Now this
Yeah.
is warmed up. It actually reminds me
Yes,
a lot of that. Which sounds like a shameless plug, but that legitimately.
Well,
is
he
what it
just
reminds
asked
me.
us to do shameless.
Oh yeah,
plugs,
so
Yeah, this is the shameless promotion part.
All right,
of the,
shameless
of the
promotion.
show.
which is different than the last hour that we've been talking, and we've been talking about our episodes.
So shameless promotion. Yeah, we just started season 4. Very guest heavy season. Got some great guests,
Local breweries,
and
beer
distilleries, beer writers. A couple of shout outs I would love to give.
Do it.
is,
Shout it out.
To very good friends of the podcast.
You're not really shouting it out. You need to shout it out.
Shout it out. On
Shout.
Twitter,
Shout.
let it all out.
That's a future episode, I hope.
No. Though ties in nicely to the plug I'm about to give. At Amethyst Hills on Twitter, that's our friend Ruveny.
Yeah.
who-
She actually expressed interest in being on my show.
Fantastic.
yeah.
Ruveni,
Love
we
her.
love Ruveni.
Love Ruveni.
She's been on a couple of times for our music episodes, but her beer writing, honestly, I would say is like nothing else I've ever read.
It's so good.
It's so good. And then our friend Paul Crowther at the Mad Brewery on Twitter, who kind of does a similar thing to what we do, in the sense that he takes pop culture and brews beer, but rather than just like we do, of being like tangential, thank you, connections, he brews in universe beers. So we just released an episode on Blade Runner where we went back and forth for like 2 months of what beer would they drink in 2019 dystopian Los Angeles of Blade Runner. He's a fantastic writer as well. So those are obviously the two big shout outs I'd love to give.
Yeah, he's been published in Brew Your Own and then a couple magazines in the UK. So
Nice.
And then at Homebrewing DIY, who is also a very good friend as well. He's Colorado homebrew podcast.
Yeah.
And once again, for anybody who might have not picked it up in the last hour, what's the name of your guys' podcast?
Oh yeah, we're at Pop Culture Brews. You can find us. Our podcast is Pop Culture Brews, and you can find us on Twitter at Pop Culture Brews.
Yeah.
And Instagram.
And you can email us at popculturebrews@gmail.com.
Again, I'm not a social media person, so
yeah, I
thank you,
do all
Andrew.
the social media, all the editing,
all the emails.
all the emails.
I just show up.
It sounds like Andrew does all the heavy lifting. and
Listen,
Tyler
he
should
gets
say
all the
drink
ad
beer.
money, all 2 cents of it, and so I think we've called it even at this point.
I think
you know?
so. I think so.
I'm here for my good looks and
On this,
partial humor. I think.
your good looks on this famously audio only
Yes,
format.
exactly. Yes. On our audio only format, I'm there for the good looks. Which
Ha-
is why I don't
have your
talk a
friends
lot.
told you have a face for radio? Is that what I'm hearing?
Even then, we
I've
turned
heard
the
that.
volume down.
Yes.
But yeah, no, we literally just started season 4, so
We did. This is perfect.
This is very, very exciting for us. So yeah,
Awesome. All right. Well, to anybody who has stuck around this long, if you like this video, please like it. If you would subscribe and click the little bell to be notified when new episodes come out. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestion for a beer or beer style you'd like to have discussed on the show, please leave them below in that aptly named comment section. Until next time, I'm Rob from the internet. Cheers.
cheers. Oh,
that's a
this
lovely
is
beer.
such a good beer.
Mm.